Welcome to Black and White. My name is Tony Loop. Originally the show was designed to promote a place where I could just put out some thoughts, put some ideas out there, share with people. And then I kind of turned into a place where we can start talking about questions. We have to be able to discuss certain issues. And for example, a lot of people say, you never talk about religion, you never talk about politics, because it always leads to an argument. And I think the problem with that is that, one, we need to discuss these things. Two, they don't have to turn into arguments. They turn into arguments when people are so adamant about their own personal beliefs. It becomes a question of, is my God better than your God? Or is my politician better than your politician? When in reality, okay, I'm not better than the guy down the street. And one belief system is not better than another. They're individual and usually different, but if we took the time to say, look, for example, we take religion and we say, okay, we're not going to sit here and argue about one part of it. What we can do is we can say, hey, here's a fact. For example, in Islam believes in Jesus of Nazareth, the virgin birth, all that stuff. Right? So when Christians, when I say, well, no, wait, okay, well, then what other issues are there? After Jesus, there were the disciples of Jesus who spoke the gospel, and, they go out and they tell people about it. And so you look at the Mormons. Okay, after the Mormon, after Jesus, after the disciples, you got Joseph Smith. Joseph Smith found some things and said, hey, look, people, here's a little bit more. Before Joseph Smith, a guy named Muhammad came along and said, hey, here's some stuff. When I talk about religion, I try to not argue about it. There should be no argument. The first thing is to say, look, this is what I believe, and I believe because I think this is a good idea. For example, in Islam, I've never, ever been a fan of taking photographs. I never liked having my own picture taken. Sometimes in Islam, some people say, that's not really great stuff. And the one main reason, actually, before Islam, was there was a guy named Krishnamurti, and he had this idea in one of his books, and it talked about, you look at a photograph, and you have this memory of the event or the time, and you try and recall it. And by recalling it, you're trying to relive it. And you can't. You can't relive those moments. You're never going to get them back. And trying to play it all out, it's better to, let's put it in this context, it's better to go out and make those new memories, to live in the moment, to enjoy today. And so, I try not to attach myself to possessions. There was a time in my life when I gave away, I almost regret it now. I gave away, there was a comic book collection with some comics that today, after Marvel and all their movies, would be worth quite a bit of money. Baseball cards, huge collection. I gave away all my possessions. One time I owned a bowl, one spoon, I think a cup. It was kind of a little weird. But it was nice and it was cleansing, and I was able to, focus on, look, you don't need that stuff to live. And again, going back to some of this is that, you can develop these kind of ideas from philosophers, from religious texts. And so when we talk about religion, why don't we talk about the experiences or these ideas, these concepts. And if you disagree, you don't necessarily need to start an argument about, whatever. We don't need to argue or dispute the virgin birth. Okay, there's a lot of people who just don't buy it, not for 1 minute. And we don't, okay, so for just a minute, let's put that off the table. And let's talk about how there was a guy back 2,000 years ago who tried to start a revolution. How about that? I mean, that's a pretty cool thing, right? Kind of reminds me of Gandhi. Kind of reminds me of Martin Luther King. Okay, let's talk about that. And most, well, let's go back to Moses. Let's try and get everybody in on this. There's certain principles. Charity. Every religion on earth has said you should give charity. In Islam, I know there's two charities. There's two levels. There's two different charities. One is you give money to support the church. The other is you give money to support directly to poor people. The money would not be used for the church, for the mosque, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same. You can call it God, Allah. You can, what's it, Dios? Forget my Spanish. You can, but that money, no matter what you call it, but the money for the charity is separated. Now there's other religions that say give and just give to the poor, and some say just give to the church and the church will figure it out. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but the idea of giving charity is great, and we can focus on that and work on it. I'm running way over the time on this video. One of the main point I wanted to question though was when you develop your own spiritual, personal, religious beliefs, how is it you did that? Did you, because your father was a Muslim and you went to mosque and you prayed 5 times a day, is that why you're a Muslim? If you went to church every Sunday or Saturday or however it fell, is that why you follow Judaism? Do you follow Christianity? Mormons? I mean, what is the reason you do that? Is it because you grew up like that? And if you grew up like that, what reinforces it for you? Because you can go back to that whole Plato allegory of the cave. Why do we choose to believe? And do we even believe? I mean, we all sit around, we can call ourselves Christians, we can call ourselves Hindus, but on a day-to-day basis, do we actually believe that stuff? And if not, if we don't believe it, should we associate ourselves with that label to make it easier? Or do we just get rid of all labels and we all come together and say, okay, look, we all believe we should be nice. We all believe we should give to charity. We all believe we shouldn't hurt each other. I mean, how do we define that? Do we do it with laws? So the two basic ideas for today is, how do you define your own religion? And do you believe all of it? And what else could we do? And then, do we just do it as a society and make it laws? Do we codify it? How people should act? And that is the new religion? Or is that Sharia? I'm telling you, I'm a little nervous about some of these videos and some of the words. There is a lot of anti-Muslim Islamophobia, whatever. I don't really care what people call it. I can tell you, a lot of Mormon jokes out there. There's a lot of people who don't like born-again Christians. There's a lot of people who make fun of Jewish people. So, hey, I just don't want a federal investigation. Not that I'm hiding anything. I'm not. Okay, so anyway, I probably shouldn't have went there. I'm just putting it out here. The questions are out there. Let's talk about this stuff. Let's not be afraid to talk about religion. Let's not be afraid to talk about politics. Let's not be afraid to be personal and openly discuss this stuff. We shouldn't make fun of each other for our beliefs, even if they sound a little weird or a little crazy. The other part for me with Islam was that, I do believe we should take a couple minutes every day, a couple times a day, and think about the bigger picture. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't carry around a rug. I don't do any of that stuff, okay? And I can tell you, most Muslims would call me a non-Muslim. So, I'm a nobody, really. But I believe in a better world. And I believe in principles. And for me, I do what I do, and I know everyone out there does what they do. So how about we all just try and do it together in the big picture way, and maybe end all the violence. That'd be kind of cool, right? Well, I hope maybe I've started a discussion. I hope. Apologize for the length. Again, I'll try and cut these videos down, but I'm just a long-winded guy. So thank you for your time.